Welcome to episode 95 EDH Commander Challenge. I'm your host, BT. And today we'll be looking at the format that's been getting a lot of popularity since the release of the War of the Spark expansion. Of course, I'm talking about Oathbreaker. The format that instead of using a legendary creature, you use a planeswalker and an instant or sorcery as your signature spell, as your, quote, commanders, or in this case, Oathbreakers. Now, there are three reasons specifically why we're doing today's episode. The first, and the most important, is because some of you guys have requested to see it, including the most latest person, one of our family members, Steve Vrooman. And we don't say no to our family members for what they want to see on the channel, so Steve, this episode is dedicated to you. The second reason was because of a really awesome Oathbreaker match I saw Alex and Martin do over on their channel, Affinity for Commander, that made it really hard for me to resist not wanting to play myself. And last but not least was the icing on the cake, the ban list. Cards that usually break the game very early on, like Soul Ring and Mana Vault and Mana Crypt, are all banned in this format. Yet, one card that I love, it's actually my favorite elf in Magic, Rathalos Llanowar Emissary, which is a pretty game-breaking card itself, surprisingly is not banned in Oathbreaker. That alone gives me an excuse to make a deck. I might have just given away what I'm playing, but hey, foreshadowing! So I hope you guys enjoy it. Now, normally we're going to do a one-on-one match, me and Francis, but Jimmy was over too, so we decided to have a three-person free-for-all matchup. Hope you guys enjoy it. And if you want to see more Oathbreaker in the future, well, I'm going to put it to you like this. If this video gets 36 likes, or we get up to 5 patron pledge hammers, we already have 3 currently, then I will turn this into its own series with a to-be-determined name, which will air on a different day of the week, and we'll try to have at least 1 or 2 episodes per month. So we'll say maybe 1 episode every 2 weeks. So without any further ado, let's go check out those opening hands. First, we have the mad scientist Francis playing his Boros style Huatli warrior poet. And his signature spell is Star of Extinction. His opening hand consists of Fire Song and Sun Speaker, and a large amount of land, including Spinerock Knoll, Shink of the Bloodsoaked Keep, Windscarred Crag, a Plains, and 2 mountains. I'm playing my mono green Garruk Wildspeaker, and my signature spell is Green Sun Zenith. And my opening hand consists of Immaculate Magistrate, Ivy Lane Denizen, Dwynen Giltleaf Dian, Elvish Mystic, 2 forests, and a Dryad Arbor. Finally, Jimmy is playing his mono-red Daretti Scrap Savant, essentially the king of artifact reanimation. And the signature spell is Gamble. His opening hand consists of Chaos Warp, Gauntlet of Power, Trading Post, Darksteel Citadel, and 3 mountains. I won the dice roll, so I'll be starting us off. Let's go! I play a forest and cast Elvish Mystic and pass. Francis plays Windscarred Crag, gaining a life, and passes. Jimmy plays a mountain and passes. I play a forest and cast Elvish Archdruid and pass. Francis plays Spinerock Knoll and hides away a card with it before passing. Jimmy plays a mountain and suspends a Wheel of Fate, passing. I play a Dryad Arbor and cast Wirewood Hivemaster, followed by my Oathbreaker, Garruk Wild Speaker. I use its +1 effect to untap 2 lands and pass the turn. Francis plays a Sunhome Fortress of the Legion and passes. Jimmy plays a Darksteel Citadel, and not liking all the mana power on my board, casts Chaos Warp on my Archdruid. It's then shuffled back into my deck, and then my top card that I reveal after shuffling is Priest of Titania, to which Jimmy gives out a loud "No!" It also triggers my Hivemaster, giving me my first insect token before he passes the turn. I play a forest and cast Ivy Lane Denizen. This triggers my Hivemaster, getting me an insect token, which in turn triggers my Denizen, allowing me to place a +1/+1 counter on the Hivemaster. Then I use Garruk's ability, allowing me to untap 2 of my lands by using its +1. Then I cast Immaculate Magistrate. This triggers my Hivemaster and Denizen again, making another insect token and allowing me to place 2 more counters on my Hivemaster. Then I move to combat and attack Jimmy with my Hivemaster and Elvish Mystic, while I attack Francis with my insect token. Both players take their respective damage, and I pass the turn. Francis plays a Plains and casts True Fire Captain, which now allows both Jimmy and I to understand his choice of signature spell, as the two allow him to one-shot a player with it. Then he passes. Jimmy plays a mountain and casts Neheb Dreadhorde Champion and passes. For my turn, I cast my signature spell Green Sun Zenith for 3. And with it, I grab Azuri Renegade Leader from my deck into play. This triggers my Hivemaster and Denizen again, granting me another insect token and 2 more +1/+1 counters on my Hivemaster. I then attack Francis with the Hivemaster and the Denizen at Jimmy. As neither declare blockers, I tap my Magistrate to place more counters on my Denizen equal to the number of Elves in play before we move to damage. Then, in my second main phase, I use Garruk's -1 ability to make a Beast token. This triggers my Denizen again, allowing me to place another +1/+1 counter. This time I put on the Denizen itself before passing the turn. Francis plays his Shinka, the Blood-Soaked Keep, and casts his Oathbreaker, Huatli Warrior Poet. He uses its +2 ability to gain 4 life because it's the power of his creature, and passes, bargaining with Jimmy to support him until he's able to one-shot me in his next turn. For Jimmy's turn, he agrees to help Francis, but needs to find an answer to support himself as well. So he attacks Francis with Neheb. Francis purposely takes all the damage, and Jimmy's Neheb triggers. He discards 5 cards from his hand to draw 5 new cards and gain 5 red mana that doesn't empty until the end of his turn. During his second main phase, he plays a mountain and casts his Oathbreaker, Daretti Scrap Savant. Followed by Unwinding Clock. He then uses Daretti's -2 ability and swaps his clock in play with his Caged Sun in his graveyard, calling red. Then he casts his signature spell, Gamble, tutoring a card to his hand. Then the random card he discards is Nevin rolls Disc, and he passes the turn. Knowing that Francis has me dead to rights in his next turn, and that Jimmy probably tutored out a giant burn spell to deal with him after I'm gone, since he just doubled his mana, I decide to go all in on this turn. I start by casting Viridian Corruptor, which I use to destroy Jimmy's Caged Sun, which in the process nets me an insect token, and I place 2 +1/+1 counters on my Hive Master, which is now the strongest creature in play. Next I cast Dwynen Gilt-Leaf Dian, which repeats the process, giving me another insect token, but instead I place my 2 +1/+1 counters on Azuri. I repeat this same process once more after casting Imperious Perfect, giving me another insect token and 2 more +1/+1 counters on Azuri. Not to mention, my 2 new elves have given all of my elves +2/+2. Francis and Jimmy can see that I have lethal, especially with the Immaculate Magistrate also untapped currently, so both of them choose to scoop it up, and this game goes to the Elf tribe. The Mad Scientist's combo of True Fire Captain alongside Star of Extinction is definitely something I've never seen before. And that's actually, in essence, the coolest thing about new formats and new decks. It always opens your eyes to new combos and new ideas for things that you may want to do in the future. And indeed, had he reached his turn, he would have either just pulled the trigger and killed me or Jimmy. Speaking of Jimmy, he's really quite taking with his Neheb Dreadhorde champion. So I imagine the next time we do a 4-way match that he's a part of, I definitely expect to see that awesome general again. As for myself, in this case, while I really wish I could have drawn Rathalos and showed you some cool things that I could do with it, and I know I could have tutored it out with my Green Sun Zenith, but it really wasn't important at the time, the card in question that did the most work for me today easily was my Ivy Lane Denizen. It works incredibly, as you saw, alongside my Wirewood Hive Master, giving me access to +1/+1 counters like crazy. Now, imagine if there was a doubling season there. It would have been worse. But nevertheless, elves are very, very quick to the take. But to be honest, had Francis drawn something like Wrath of God or Day of Judgment, it might not have gone down that way. Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments down below. And also a special thanks to our patron Pledgehammers for helping to make this episode possible, as well as to Steve Vrooman for making the request. For those of you who want to see more Oathbreaker matches or just want to help out the channel, consider becoming a patron. Gives you access to really cool and special bonuses, and it also helps with the channel at the same time. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're a fan of EDH gameplay and you like whether it be 1v1 or multiplayer and you want to be part of the ever-growing Command Your Challenge family, just make sure you smash the subscribe button and notification bell down below. We do weekly videos. Don't forget as well to like, comment, share our videos, but most importantly, enjoy them. On behalf of all of our members here, I'm your host, BT. Feel free to check out all of the videos in the channel. Join our game. It's now your turn. Cheers!